Hello, thanks for reaching out. So I looked at the question and I did some research, and I recommend you do the same too. But I think it broke down into like two different chunks. So there's like Jonestown and the disaster, the mass suicide, mass murder. That is all one thing, all put together. That's called a case study. But then you want other studies from peer-reviewed articles. Some of them would use Jonestown, but some might be just talking about joining, why people join a cult, why people leave a cult, and things like that. So there might be two different things that you can look at, and I'll show you both. First thing that I did is I went to the Wikipedia page and I read about Jonestown. This horrifying. This happened when I was like 8 years old. But the more that you read, the more that you start to kind of build an idea. And so you write down keywords as you go. One that I found was charisma. The leader was more important than anything else. A feeling of belonging or a fear of not belonging, and things like that. But as you go, you might have to go through those things and look for why people left, why people didn't want to go, why people submitted themselves to be killed. Another thing that you can do is if you go to Gemini, if you just type in Jonestown, Gemini is a Google search that is an AI, so it systematically pulls the main points out of websites, but you don't get the websites, you just get the main points. So if I type in Jonestown, it will give me kind of the shorter version of Wikipedia, but so control is one. Why did people submit to suicide at Jonestown? And so it's just like ideas as you go. None of these are scholarly because this is like Gemini and it's grabbing it from everywhere. But you can see what's going on. There's maybe like conspiracy or belief in the end, all sorts of things like that that you can try out in keywords. Okay, let's go to the library homepage and let's start digging. I have a couple of searches just with cults in general, but let's go to the advanced catalog search. And if you do, if you just type in Jonestown as a keyword, and then you make sure that that keyword is part of the title, it's one of those things that there's only one of them. It's the only time that it happened. And so everything will be related to it. So there's books on it. There's poetry, the voices, etc., etc. So you might be able to find some of that background stuff that is more detailed than Wikipedia, definitely more detailed than Gemini. When you go into the peer-reviewed articles specifically, they're going to be all over the place. So there's going to be like media analysis, some of it's going to be historical documentation. So what you could do is figure out a way of adding those keywords that you're interested in. So let's go back up here where we can change the search. And you could do psychology. And that would narrow it down to just 33. Oh, and just with peer-reviewed, it's only 13, if you have to use those. But there's all sorts of things here. So there's like conspiracy theories. Oh, that's about Jonestown. Oh, here's one. We maybe accidentally found one that looks good. Group psychology of mass madness. This one is rather old, but I don't think that's a big deal for something like this. A corrective comparison, the effect of Jonestown suicide, etc., etc. You know, well, whether you know this or not, let me show you one more time. If you see something, when you click on the red title, absolutely nothing will happen because something's going on with the catalog. That's terrible. Oh, it worked. You know that you can sometimes grab the PDF, but sometimes you have to go to the link to the online. And then click on one of these, and then it will give you the full text. If you run stuck and you can't get these, let me know. Ooh, this is an old-timey one. There's the article right there. Also, there's a citation generator in that library catalog link there too. So you can grab those. Let's do another search. And this is not related to Jonestown. This is more of like the psychology of why people would join. And I found, I'm going to do that same search, but I'm going to do cult or cults, because I don't know which, if it's going to be, if the letters are going to say one or the other. And in this one, I'm going to make sure that it's in the title. But on the next line, I want to do, OK, so like leave, why do people join and why do people stay? I was asking the question, why do people leave or not leave? So I did, let me tell you what I'm doing here. I did leave, so it'll show up as people that leave or leaving. Or here's another trick. If you do a little star, it's escape or escaping or escapes. It catches all three of those. I could have done that with cult. Defect or defector or defecting. Let's see what happens. And then I'm going to go to peer reviewed again. So these are people that grew up in a cult. Oh, yeah, I didn't think about getting out. If you come up with another keyword, you can just go to the end and just do, you can add the keywords as you go. And you have to go to peer reviewed journals again. Mental health professionals. Oh. This might be kind of what you're looking for. Escaping loneliness. No, I want to escape the cult. Thank you. Oh, cult membership. What are the factors contribute to joining or leaving? Yours. I'm laughing because the last search that I did for somebody was so like nuanced, and this one's like, oh, okay, well, here's an article exactly what you were talking about. What I would also recommend is you can add join or joining, and then you could do these same searches. If you go to the databases over here, this is that the guide that I made for the class. If you go over here to the scholarly academic research, really good ones are going to be sociological abstracts right here, because that talks about things happening in society and observing them and how society could have like prevented something. And then another one is PsycInfo. This is like individual psychology. Try those databases if you don't find what you're looking for, but let me know how it goes. I'm happy to help further.